Alright, so today we are back onto a game that we've not played in quite some time, that being Bleach Mobile 3D. For those that don't know about this game, it's kind of joint developed by K-Lab. It's a game that's surprisingly still around after this many years. I didn't expect it to last this long. I don't recommend people play it either, but because it is partly owned by K-Lab, one of the cool things that we can experience through this game as a Brave Souls fan is characters from Brave Souls. And this is something that we've done on the channel over the last like 3 or so years. Every now and then, every year or so, we come back to the game just to see the new characters they actually have done. And at this point in time, as they have long since finished the Aizen arc, all they do nowadays is essentially just seasonal characters, but every now and then you get a rare surprise of an Brave Souls anniversary unit. At this point, they've done most of Brave Souls' original units, and we showcased Byakuya around 1.5 years ago. Since then, they've now added characters like 6th Anniversary Aizen, 5th Anniversary Ichigo, and something I know is going to upset a lot of people, myself included. For some reason, this is one of the few, I guess, modern-day Bleach games. I wouldn't even call this modern, but it is one of the few Bleach games that actually have Monster Aizen playable, and we showcased that in the past. Really, that's the only praise I can give this game, is that it has a decent selection of characters that aren't playable elsewhere, and it's basically just this character here. Everything else about the game is kind of like, stay away. And the only reason why I'm talking about it really is because they just use Brave Souls characters. In a way, you can look at this game as a 0.5 version of Brave Souls. But like I said, every now and then we come back to the game to check out the new characters. The last character we did try out was 5th Anniversary Byakuya. And that voice line is super loud, damn. But I will say again, as a Brave Souls fan, it's so weird seeing characters that are from Brave Souls. Again, Brave Souls, you know, models are quite chibi-fied. They've lost a bit of their cheapiness over the years, but it is still so weird looking at characters that we've known and experienced through Brave Souls, specifically like these seasonal and also original characters, and then seeing them look like this in this game. It's just so weird looking, I will be honest. Now, I do want to go on like a mini rant regarding how this game was handled, in sense that, and a lot of Bleach games do it too, I don't know why. Every time, because you'll see it here. You know, if we scroll down and have a look at all the characters, they're doing canon characters. For the most part, they cover all the big characters, the characters that should be included. But at a certain point, they finish the final fight, Ichigo vs Aizen, and then refuse to go past that. Very rarely do you see any game, pretty much only Brave Souls, that actually adapts Fullbring characters, and that's actually kind of upsetting. It's the same with Bleach and Mortal Soul. They're also doing something similar where all they do is seasonals. If they even get new characters in that game, I have no idea. And while Fullbringers wouldn't get me to play this game, it's still something I want to see. Even games like Bleach Rebirth of Souls don't have Fullbringers in the game, and they just completely skip through them, but hopefully in a sequel. Now, one weird thing too that I just find very off-putting is the character artwork they have here. It's like, this is Grimmjow, the Cacao side version, but the artwork they're using is his 2D sprite in the Point Event story. Meanwhile, other characters actually have the artwork. It's like they pick and choose when to use the character's art or when to use the character's sprite. Like, I don't know why this character here didn't just have his artwork. But hey, we're here for it. Let's check out 5th Anniversary Ichigo. Let's see how the character looks in this game. Again, super weird looking. And I think for the most part, especially as we have these original characters, they do pretty much just use what Brave Souls has. Now, one thing I actually wouldn't mind Brave Souls incorporating, then again, it might be a bit too overpowered. What you will see in the bottom right here is that there's 2 cycles, and this basically indicates that you can press the attack twice. So we use the first strong attack here. It has the 8-second cooldown, but you can actually use it again. It's something that quite a few other games do it, but then again, I can kind of see why Brave Souls doesn't. We have access to recharge links. You can just spam your strong attack regardless. Imagine you could spam your SA1 non-stop, and it would refresh every like 3 seconds, but you have 2 uses of it. It'd be kind of overpowered. But I guess the thing with the characters, SA1 is pretty much a lunge, very similar to how we have it in Brave Souls. His second strong attack, it's kind of an AoE around him. I guess it's similar to the second strong attack that we have in Brave Souls. And in the third strong attack, it's actually the, he leaves behind the Bankai symbol, right? That's something that the other Ichigo does do as well. And he has that as a charge strong attack, right? So this seems to resemble the charge strong attack. We also have a cut-in effect, which I think just recreates the third strong attack the character does have. And then we also have transformations. Now, I guess this is a replacement of a soul bomb, for those that don't know. They will replicate the soul bomb. Ew! I mean, the animations aren't the greatest, let's be honest. Okay. Yeah, like, you know, I don't even know how to, like, what to say about that. It's like, it's cool. I like that they're replicating Brave Souls soul bombs, but it is kind of like, lowest of qualities. That's one thing you can kind of commend Brave Souls over the years, despite almost being 10 years old. And, you know, compared to newer games, modern day gacha games that are coming out this year or the last 4 years, that have really good, insane graphics, Brave Souls is kind of like aged quite well despite the chibi models, which is its main style. So much so that even with the new Brave Souls, you know, 1000-year Blood characters, they replicate the anime scenes very well. But let's go ahead and have a look at the Sobom again. Again, it's cool seeing it, but it's like, you know, you can tell the animation quality isn't clearly the same. Like, that ending there is absolutely outrageously bad. But I guess to give them some credit, they've gotten better, I guess, because if you go back to, like, the olden days, this came out, like, what, 6 years ago, probably? Let's have a look at Dangai Ichigo, because I know that's what people want to see, right? Again, we've already showed him in the past, you know, many years ago at this point. If we have a look at his Sobom, it's very short. Like, he just does that. Super short, basically does nothing. But essentially every character in this game, they don't have a special animation soul bomb damage attack, for example, but they do have all transformations. So that's in a way something that Brave Souls doesn't have anymore. But every character here will essentially transform, even if they don't change visuals all that much, you know? But it does make for some cool gameplay, at least back when these characters came out and I was actually accepting of the gameplay. Nowadays, I want a bit more from my gacha games. Not what this game really offers. Let's have another look at Monster Aizen, just because, you know, we showcased him in the past, but it's been many years. Maybe you didn't see that video. This is cool. Like, this is something that you just don't get in any Bleach game that you're probably currently playing right now. Brave Souls or Rebirth of Souls. I guess at this point, our last hope of a Monster Aizen is if Brave Souls finally does it, or if maybe Soul Resonance actually does it, if they go down this route. But even then, you never know. You know, Rebirth of Souls didn't do it. Brave Souls didn't do it. Maybe there's a chance that Soul Resonance doesn't do it either. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty cool character. Despite like the craze of animations, it's just a cool form. It's something that you just don't get to play with too much. It'd be kind of cool to see it animated in Brave Souls with good animation, or even Rebirth of Souls, which again you can do. You can play him in Rebirth of Souls, but you have to mod it in, so it don't technically count. You know, I wouldn't even mind if it was a Keycon animation for like the final attack, basically. But no, it's not, unfortunately. Maybe in a sequel game. Maybe in a sequel game. But that's basically Monster Aizen for the most part. Looks alright. Looks alright. We'll have a look at 5th Anniversary Byakuya 2, even though we did showcase him last time. The Strong Attack 1 looks a tad bit different. Instead of it being like a pushback attack, it seems like he summons them from the sky. That's not too bad for an idea of a future Strong Attack when this character ever does get remade. Like, imagine this as a distant AoE SA2 960. That would unironically work. I wouldn't be opposed to it. This is supposed to resemble his Tracking Vortex. But obviously this game doesn't have Vortex attacks, so it's just a bunch of swords coming around him. Also seem to be a defensive mood, giving us a barrier when we do use it. I literally do not care about this game better, so I don't know what's good about it. I'm just here to just see the character for the first time. What is that third strong attack? We can use it again. Seems like he just slams down, maybe to resemble the character's Sobom animation. But speaking of that, let's check it out. Again, pretty much the same as Brave Souls. Just much worse. Just much worse. Again, the only benefit this game has is the fact that it's not chibi. And even then, that doesn't mean much. Because it's not like Brave Souls models are bad, despite them being chibi. I guess you could prefer this style, but, you know, definitely worse animations for the most part. But let's have a look at some other characters. I'm going to save 6 Anni Aizen for last because it's going to be probably the coolest character. But I guess they recently got a third fusion Aizen, I believe is what we call this form. So let's see what this character looks like. SA1 is a lunge. Ew. That's weird seeing it. That's supposed to be a beam. That's supposed to be a beam. Imagine this Aizen releasing. Why does he run like that too? Why is his arm like that? Ew. His second strong attack. That's actually very similar to his Nat String. This seems to be his Nat String as well from Brave Souls, but it's the first initial 3 hits. The final hit is like a split wave attack. That actually worked for a pretty good normal attack string, by the way. Like, I remember this character releasing on Brave Souls, and he was being praised for his normal attack string, despite being a SP character, you know? His third strong attack, though, seems to be another lunge. I think this game, the idea is you're versing 1v1s. You want to like lunge and guarantee a hit. So you don't get the climactic full screen that you have in Brave Souls. And that just seems to be a repeat of his third strong attack again. Let's transform. Okay, so it is. Even for these characters, they're just recreating Brave Souls soul bombs. Which I guess allows them to look better, but that now seems to drop something on top of them. That becomes a range attack, and this continues to be a lunge forward or guaranteed hit on the enemy. And apparently we're inflicting sleep. Hooray. But yeah, again, this is another character, right, that has access to 2 strong attacks on the SA1. But again, you can't recharge these characters' strong attacks fast enough. So I guess it makes sense having access to buttons like that, you know? I guess in a way, if Caleb was ever to introduce a particular, like, double strong attack button where you can use it twice, it would have to be balanced to maybe be once per quest. But at that point, it's kind of like an EX attack, you know? But even once per quest, in content like Guild Quest, for example, that would also be kind of broken. Kind of broken. Now, for some reason, they released 2 Zangetsus back-to-back. Let's have a look at Tenta Zangetsu and see what he has to offer. I kind of forgot how this character plays in Brave Souls, but his SA1 is a lunge. I think that resembles his first strong attack in Brave Souls. SA2 seemed to be a slash forward, leaving some type of field behind him. And then his SA3, very similar to, I think, Danga Ichigo that we just showcased a few minutes ago. It's alright, but let's transform. Again, replicating Brave Souls soul bombs. The red background's kind of cool though. It's alright. It's alright. Oh, one thing I will say, now that I'm seeing this, I'm appreciating Brave Souls more. If we have a look at the animation again for the soul bomb, if you have a look at the background animation, you can kind of see that it's quite literally in an empty void, a square void. You can see where the walls are. So it doesn't end up looking nice. Brave Souls kind of mask that very well, in my opinion, with extra effects. Very rarely can you even tell you're in a box or an empty void, because they do a good job at distracting that. But that was Tenta Zangetsu. Now let's check out White Zangetsu, something that we haven't seen in Brave Souls in quite some time. This character's never been remade. His first strong attack is going to be a lunge. Kind of resembles his SA2, which has a vortex, because you kind of see the lunge, and then you get like a very short vortex around you, at least in terms of the visual standpoint. The SA2 is definitely his SA3 in Brave Souls, where it kind of groups everyone together. So that's kind of cool how they changed it into that. And then the SA3, that's actually kind of cool. I wouldn't mind something like that in Brave Souls. Obviously, it would look better in Brave Souls, but that would be kind of cool to see with a remake of this character. And we can even use the soul bomb again. Again, replicating it one-to-one here. Oh. Oh, damn, we get to spam all the attacks. Look at that. We get to use both. 6 strong attacks in one go. How greedy. We get to again. Get to use the SA1 again. And then the SA2 comes back. Okay. And then we wait for it. Then we get to use the SA1 onto again into the 3. You get to spam with this character. Again, I'm sure he's probably good. And by that point, we can already transform again. Oh my god. There we go. Oh, actually, it looks like the strong attacks recharge differently even when you're not transformed, I guess. So you can't spam too much with this character. But still, he seems like the most impressive in terms of being able to just spam compared to the characters we showcased within this video. Well, I guess since then they haven't added too many characters, let's actually check out Grimmjow next. This is the Cacao Society version. So the SA1 was a beam last time. I think this attack resembles his third strong attack when you don't charge it up, I guess. His second strong attack, I think that's his SA2. I'm not too sure. And then his SA3, I think everyone just kind of has like a guaranteed hit onto the first strong attack. If we go ahead and transform, also replicating the soul bomb, it's so weird. It's so weird. That's one of the better ones, but doesn't say much. And again, it's another character you get to have 6 strong attacks that you can use once you transform. So you can just get to spam for the first time. I guess that's kind of cool. And then we're back to this de-transformed state. Maybe we can get some fan service. Let's check out Yoruichi. SA1 looks like something. I don't think I resemble that. That seems to be her SA1 in Brave Souls. The third strong attack, I think that resembles a soul bomb. At least the after effects. Let's just quickly transform though. The model's not so good. She's not as thick either. Ooh. Just a black screen? No effects, okay. And again, she can spam too, but her visuals seem to be very similar once she does transform. It doesn't look all that different. If we just spam the attacks here, okay. It's alright, it's alright. Alright, last up, I don't want to keep playing this game. I think we showcased enough characters. Let's look at 6th Anniversary Aizen. The model itself, I mean, they did a decent job at the, middle part, showcasing the Hokugyu. It doesn't look as special as Brave Souls. I think they had like a better masking effects, but again, it's so weird Looking at 6th anniversary Aizen, a character we're all accustomed to, one of the best releases in Brave Souls, and right now, I'm looking at some alien form of it in this game. Let's go ahead and use the strong attacks though. So his SA1 is a lunge. That looks kind of cool though. Oh, hold on. The Nad String. It's like it's sending out a fog of lightning, which I don't think kind of reflects the character's design here. But the SA1 is good. Like, it's a lunge and then it summons shards of glass. That would kind of work in a remake of this character. That's all right. His SA2, though, it's the Vortex. It doesn't last long, though, but they actually kept the Vortex. That's kind of cool. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of that. Again, that's such, like, iconic attack. Seeing that in this game is kind of cool. The third strong attack, though, that's like breaks the dome. He summons a dome and then it breaks. Okay, let's see the soul bomb, though. Ah, it's weird looking. Okay. It's semi-decent. It doesn't have the end impact, but that's cool. Alright, first strong attack. Oh, yo, it summons clones of him? That'd be sick. Oh, I actually... The third stays the same, unfortunately. But yo, his animation looks good. Imagine that on a remake. A bunch of Aizen summoning in at the same time. Because that would make sense, right? This form of Aizen's technically like breaking reality. Him summoning clones would be kind of in line. So I'm rather impressed for this character right here on Bleach Mobile 3D. He actually looks kind of cool. I'm a fan of it. Let's transform once more. They did a decent job of him. If I was an active player in this game, I'd be rather impressed. But yeah, Aizen is in this game now. It's kind of cool. I guess next time we come back to this game, maybe they'll add 7th anniversary characters. Probably never add 1000 Year Blood War. So I guess they're running out of original design characters that they can use unless Brave Soul starts doing more. I'm sure the dev team over on Mobile 3D is probably begging KLab to do original characters as much as we are. Because otherwise, they're not going to get any more characters once they do 7th anniversary. But there you have it. That is 6th anniversary Aizen in this game. I'm surprised this game is still here. But I guess every now and then we can come back to this game just to see what Brave Soul's character would look like if they weren't chibi-fied for the most part. It's kind of cool, I guess. Hope you liked the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.